Morning, everybody. And I wanted to come on and finish up with a class that I did yesterday and 2 weeks ago. And people have asked, would I share it? And so, being that I charged for the class because they got supplies, but you're all not getting any supplies, I don't mind sharing the tips that I shared with them. And so this was called my page starter slash mat class. And many people have done some things about the mats and mat class. I know Lanita Medita has done them, Bev DeBono has done them. Others have done them. But I chose to do something different for my customers and say, and the ones that could come. So I wanted to be able to share with you. I'm going to share what I had. And so, because I'm anxious to go ahead and post my pictures, but I wanted to be able to do this today. And I've still got one virtual person that's going to come online so we can have interchange with her. So I'm going to go ahead and change my view. And what we're going to do is probably just make one. And then because I wanted to show you some things on how I process some of it. Okay. But probably should have moved all this aside first. And let me just kind of do that so I can concentrate on just sharing with you. And I didn't make my screen real big so that you all will be able to see what I'm doing. Okay. And I'll just share those first with you. And then we'll actually make something. And I should have told you, I'm Connie Skaggs from Latson, South Carolina, right outside of Charleston, South Carolina. And this is my tip for this week. So I do these little things where I've decorated them up, and you will see that there's many things that I've just used, leftover things or whatever, and that's what I'm going to show you in a little bit. But this one is one of the MAC cards that I cut in half, so I've still got journaling areas here. Done one of the stickers. I raised this one up on some foam squares. I got some tiny foam squares under here, which I love. The back in our that Creative Memories done an adhesive bundle or adhesive buffet back early in the year, and they offered our foam squares in a thin foam squares, and I really like them so well because sometimes I just didn't want thick ones, and so I'm gonna put it in the chat or in my description where you can go in and make product suggestions to CM. And this was a variety pack of the thin. It's the same foam squares that we have, but they are very thin. They're like an eighth, no, I don't know, not an eighth of an inch, but they're only about half the thickness of our regular foam squares. And sometimes you just want that little bit of oomph, but not, really big, and especially if you're mailing something or another, but it still makes the dimension. So these are with the smaller ones. So I just wanted to let you know that. And there is an email product suggestion to Creative Memories that they will, and they pass these things along. So if there's any product that you've been looking for or something, and of course, they just come back out with this Copper Canyon too. And so that's launching Monday. And so, anyway, just letting you know that those are things they do listen to us. But this was one that's just a half a page. I just showed you how you could do this. It becomes your whole embellishment and things. But here's one that I done for summer break. This was a leftover sticker. I done this one's on. It's just one of the regular cards, and I can journal right on there. Put a little pineapple, and this is from a whole nother collection, but it would definitely went with this summer collection. And then summer break was a sticker. And I'm going to show you pages that I've made with these. This one was from our one of our spring collections, spring cottage, I do believe. And so this had this long one, and this is a mat on a mat. So I've got two mats here. And so I put a 4x6 on top of a 4.5 by 6.5. So it had a darker edging because I wanted this to show up. And so this is on foam squares underneath. The tree is, and then this sticker, I've done that and put a couple jewels on there. And so, but one of the things I do on the back, if I'm going to have something to offset, I just put a line there so I know exactly where to put my foam squares. Now I will probably put some more foam squares out here before I use this just to keep this elevated a little bit and things. So, and I only done the photo and the foam squares on the top side. I didn't do it down on the trunk. So it gives a elevation this way. And so this becomes another page starter. In other words, it'll start my page. And so this is from Autumn Harvest, Autumn Caudy, Autumn something. Please forgive me. I mixed and matched so many because I've done something for all seasons for my group, plus a birthday and a heritage one or a general one. So this is another card on top of a card, a mat on top of a mat. So sometimes you come down and you don't have a lot of mats left, and so you just want to use them up. And so I wanted to use this. This is already pre-printed on here. And so, and then we've got the acorns here, and I put the scarecrow down here. And the scarecrow is on foam square. One of these acorn is on foam square, and so is this title. Now I also have one right here behind him that I can peel off when I need to and stuff. So um this will be the journaling for, a nice fall page telling where we went, what we done, simple days. It's perfect for a general fall page. It don't have to be pumpkin um, picking or a harvest party or anything like that. It's just sometimes you're going out and about and enjoying. You might be going to a farmer's market. We're in South Carolina, so we have farmer's markets all the way up till November here and stuff. So, it might be a Saturday out, but it might be fall and stuff. And they're going to concentrate on more vegetables that are fall vegetables. So, but anyway, just letting you know. Then we done here. This one was a Christmas one. And so this is also a mat, but it's on top of a piece of cardstock. I just cut my cardstock the bigger size. And because I don't like to have a lot of gap, and see, and I could have done that in this one too. I could have cut out the center here and had this maybe orange, but I think it had lines or something underneath, so I didn't want to do that. But this one is what I have here now is I have this little piece, which is perfect for some of our stickers that will be kind of a title. Remember the one here that was a longer one? If I would have had that one cut it a little bit larger with our rectangle, um, with rectangle templates, then our custom cutting system, that would have fit here. But this is pretty much the same size as that sticker. So, but anyway, this gives, and I know it's one piece of paper and you're not going to use it all the time, but we have a lot of our stickers that are these sizes. And that was another thing I showed was that how you have, this is an oval sticker. And if you use our oval, the next size up, well, or inside of a circle, I've got those all. And then I just put a couple jewels, and that is all I need for that Christmas page. And it'll say, may your days be merry and bright. And then I can write on here about the Christmas page. This one is from Our Moments. And it's just one of the cards. I didn't want to use that side. I used this side that had the lines on it. I used stickers here, and I could have elevated them. How do you elevate the stickers? These are all stickers. Well, that's what we use our anti-stick powder for. And I'm going to show you how to use that in just a little bit. So this had some other stickers here, I put down, and then I've got this sticker. These little stickers, the word ones, are on foam squares. I had a couple jewels that brought out this plum purplish look, and so it just works. And so this will be great for some heritage pages I have. Now, now let me show you this. Well, this was a little template that I made up, and it's very generic as far as that goes. And so it's got, because I want them to see that this is like just squares are easy. You can just cut them with your trimmer. But this is our square punch. I'll use that in a minute. This is our circle punch, And so anything that would fit inside those, then here's the oval I used. And I told them what side, whether you use the inside of the green blade or red blade or whatever. And same thing with his square. Now you can make more of these. Our circles have, and our templates have many sizes because I think out of our um, square, our ovals, and our circles, you can make up to 24 different sizes. And so, and I even done a little one like that because I had some small circles in this heritage and this our moments, which is perfect. That way, then you can just put your foam square underneath it if you want to lift it up, or you just put it on the page. However, let me show you some other things that I did. Now, when I'm going through and I've got leftover papers or something, this was a piece of paper that I had that was 10 inches. And so then I had another strip that had been cut off and stuff, but I just needed it to extend out to the 12 inches. So I cut, I think that's an inch and a quarter, inch and a half, or whatever. And I put that, and then I used just another strip of paper behind it so it would help hold that. But then I had this one embellishment left, so I stuck it on there. I've got some beige for my cardstock as my mats. I've done an oval here. And of course, this will go here. And see, this becomes my page. And that's simple. Very simple, classic, but we're all about getting pages done and yet decorating up and using up our supplies. So that is one. These are kind of not in any order because I've got them all out of order from yesterday. This is with our new songbird. Um, no, cornflower, I believe. This one's cornflower cardstock. This is your baby blue, two mats that are 4x6. And this one is a white mat. And this one, and actually in your mats, a lot of times you've got a cover sheet that is able to be turned over and use the white part as a mat. I don't think I did that on this one without me taking it all the way up. I can't tell for sure. But I wanted to make room for this tree. This is my classic look, which is two verticals and two horizontals. And so this will go here, and it makes it a really nice spring page or anything that you're going through. It doesn't have to necessarily be spring because of the saying. It says, like wildflowers, we must allow ourselves to grow in all places people thought you never would. Well, you know, maybe you're taking a vacation and maybe you've went by a park or something. Perfect. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that this has to be in spring. So I think that's what I'm trying to get across. And so when I have these, I grab one of these and I'm thinking, how can I do this page the simplest way and yet showcase that? And so and still get pictures on it. Now, you know, you could have done, I could have put this in half, done two 3x4s here. I could have done, you know, something else or a 4x4 up here, you know, but it's not necessarily needing any other writing maybe on it. And you can use any of these for a journal box. So that's another one. Well, this one here was a fun one. Okay, I want to show you on the back. This was a piece of Fast to Fab paper from Summertime, which was out a couple years ago. It was not enough of the paper because I had taken a piece off. So I got a, looks like maybe I done a 4-inch piece of black, or I probably had this piece of black set aside because I do a lot with 4 inches. And so then I just offset that. And of course, when you're using your mat, your 13-inch mat, you can lay this stuff out and know exactly where to make that. So it's a 12-inch, you know, mat. And of course, this didn't need anything down through here because it had dots or something down through there. But I had this one sticker and it helps elevate the black, or it enhances the page to bring in the black. And so these were just leaves. These are all leaves under here. And so now this is more of a tonal green. These pictures won't need any mats because they can be put right on top of this green because that becomes its own mat. I got a circle here and I said, this is a small circle outside blue blade, which means when I do my picture, I do the small circle outside red blade on a 4x6 photo, and that picture will fit right there. Now it's also, so this is my page starter and it will go right here. And so then I can write about these pictures here on a summer break, whether it's a part of a vacation, whether it's part of just, like I said, I told you, we do a lot of things like we're going to, we go to a flea market, or not flea market, to a farmer's market. And that could be our summer break. Is just going up there on a Saturday and walking through this small town and getting some vegetables and things. And then I could say, something about what the vendors had or whatever. And it's perfect. So, I have to remember to do my pictures landscape though for this one. So that is another one. Another thing too is I want you to remember I'm using leftover stuff, leftover paper. Who has a piece of Fast to Fab paper, because I think this had like turquoise or something on the bottom and I needed it for something else, so I cut it off. And so now I'm using up the rest of that paper. All right. This next one is fall, and I think this was from Autumn Harvest, I believe. This is one piece of paper. It was this blue piece of paper, and the back side was the checked. And so all I done was I cut it off at, it looks like probably 4.5. It was. So I done 4.5, which gives me plenty of room here. And so all I done was cut the 4.5 and then flip the side. It's a kind of an old take of our fold over page, but I want to use the whole page, but I like to both sides. And another thing too, this blue has a tendency to tone down the bright checked. And so I didn't want it competing. And I believe this package had burnt orange cardstock. I still had a little bit of that. It's probably out of an older Croptoberfest or whatever. I love this burnt orange. I need to email customer service or product suggestion and let them know. I would love to have this burnt orange. Our pumpkin is good, and it would have matched too because it would have been this lighter orange. I just felt like this was a little bit darker and it worked good. But this sticker inside here, this is a sticker that had whatever I took out, there was things on either side, and the sticker was on the other side. And this was the negative piece that was inside, between stickers. Let me see, I have a little piece here. And this one won't work, but see how this piece here is called your negative? But that would work. I mean, it's short and I'd have to cut it down here or something, but you could cut it off and it can be used. So, like I said, it's not that I want to use every little piece I have to have, but sometimes I just needed something white here. I thought it helped separate these lines. And of course, I could have used a white strip of paper, 1/4 inch piece and up through there. But look here how well this goes together. And then right there. And I just kind of line them up, and I would line it up so that my group, I'm on the edge here and I'm right off of the top there. And so that is a perfect fall page. And I worked on one, and this one I apologize because I was so happy to get this page done, but this was the half piece that I did as my template or my example. It didn't have the writing on it, but this was from the birthday bonanza, and I had some embellishments. I put them on, put a couple dots. This is a sticker, and then I used a piece of the Fast to Fab paper. This is another one of the mats, and and that's from the birthday bonanza too. And so this green grid, it helped highlight the green in here. I used eggplant here because it highlights the purple and stuff. So these are only 4x6. This is 4.5 by 6.5, so I could use this whole 4x6 photo. And so anyway, this was a birthday from a few years ago where I got my Dell laptop that I'm using right now. So but anyway, this is how I use this one on this page. So I wanted to show you that. And this one here, how many of us have leftover Fast to Fab pages? I know Cassie Olberg has showed this, how you just take one and, cover up what you don't want or something. I wanted to show you that under here, this grid was gold. I didn't want gold because it didn't match what I was working with. So I do a strip, I done another strip, and of course I do that corner on a 45-degree angle, these two here, and now it looks like it's got a mitered corner. Let me show you that a little closer. Yeah, that just overlays right there, but just so tiny you don't see it. And now this one you do see because I just pulled it up. But there you can see, and I'll have to put a little bit more glue, adhesive under that one and stuff. And then this big white piece was in the center. And so then I went ahead and just measured to see, and of course this will be a 6-inch photo, but I only needed 3.5. This will be a 3 by 3.5. This is a 3 by 4 because this also is 4.5. And so when I put that there, there will be my Christmas page. Very easy to do these, and I don't need anything else. I've got a journal box, I've got embellishments, these little jewels. I could stick a little jewel down in here. I don't need anything else on this page, tell you the truth. But if I wanted to add something, you can. This is why I call this a page starter, because all I done is I made this first, and I thought, what do I have now that I can try to work with? And so now I've got a pre-made page for Christmas pages. So hopefully that kind of explains a little bit about my page starters. But I wanted to show you how simple some of this is. Okay, so I always put my leftover things in just a little envelope that I have and just stick it in there. Like this part was citrus summer, this was summertime. I mean, this is mix and match. And so I want you to see. So I have these 4 or 5 mats left and things. So I have this one partial sticker, but I'm not going to probably use that one today. I have a few embellishments from, this was from Citrus Summer. So I had the sand and all that. I have, these were from summertime, I think. Some stickers, beach please, taking my sweet time. These, I've used this one here, but this says road tripping, our paradise splash zone. And these are sometimes they're long or, horizontal or vertical. And this one is one, I think I'm going to use this one first, just because it's going to be very simple to do. And things. And, but any of these you can use. Now, this one has 2 different backgrounds. So, see, this one has got this, that would work really good there with that instead of this side. Sometimes I have a tendency, I love the brights more and things. But, if I've only got a sticker, then maybe it's not enough, but I might have something else. But it's just, let's see. No. But this one here, I thought was an easy one to do. And then I have cut, now these, one of the things I do is this square. I want to see, you can do it, kind of peel it back just a little bit and see what the measurement is. If the measurement is like, it's 1.5 inches. So these are out of our square punch, which is 1.75 inches. I like this pink because it brightens it up. I already told you I like bright colors. Now, if I just wanted to put this straight on here, one of the things, and I see that this is a little bit bigger than this side and stuff, but it would fit perfect in there. So I'm not going to go with it. But if I wanted to just do the sticker, and I'll do that in a minute, but let's just go ahead and put this in here. Gotta have to be sure that they're down good. And see, taking my sweet time, it's got a sweet watermelon. And another thing too is if I only wanted this to be a shorter one, then that's all I need. But because the watermelon's here, this is over here, and I kind of have a tendency to do two across, or if I'm doing a cluster, even if I've done something else down here, I would want to you know, just have one more thing here, a little jewel, and I didn't pull out my little jewels, um, but I probably would add something like that on there. And so then this to me needs to be up. But I don't know, I don't think I need that whole card. And so what I'm going to do is let's make this, let's make it 4.5 inches. Because I could go 4. Okay, so this is a scrap. Doesn't mean that I won't use it, but it's just scrap right now. But see, then I've got this here. Now, you might not like that because the lines, are finished on this side, but they're all the way over here. Okay, well, maybe that's going to take away that watermelon. We'll do that. And so I'm sitting here just kind of eyeing and seeing what do I want to do about that. But I don't know that I want to do anything. So, and I could cut it off to the edge so then that the lines look like they're a uniform. The only other thing I would do is to free cut right here our little micro tip scissors. Let's just see. Well, this works. And I just want to go part of the way. Now, a little bit more at the bottom, you can tell. Just a curve around just a little bit more. So I'm actually showing you another way to use this. And I'm just bending it up slightly, because I could take this piece off and it could go underneath there. And see, then the watermelon can go right there. And that covers up those lines. I kind of like that. And I wouldn't take this off. But also, I like this. And I can see that it goes up to about that point. Now, what I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to cut around the top. I kind of like my top to match. So where this leaf is, I'm just kind of cutting on the outside of it. And if you don't have these micro tip scissors, they are perfect for doing a little fussy cutting. So that's some trash there. Actually, I've got a little bit more to work with, so let me just a little bit more of the black showing there. So, and I want my petal going the opposite way. So just be patient with me here for a second. You can see, this is how I create. It's like trial and error. So, but anyway, let's just go up here. That's not quite as wide as I need it. Hmm. Sure, I might like that underneath there too, because it just kind of holds those two together. But I've got a little spot here trimmed. I was trying to decide there. So, and I would cut this off down here, but and, you know, part of me is just not pleased with that. So I didn't press them down hard at all. So this, like it's a 1/2 inch. Do like that. So we're going to put this on this side. And it goes all the way up to the top because that's exactly the amount it used to be. And then we put a little tape, repo tape, right under the watermelon. And he looks like he's on top of it there. And then I've got, these are bigger foam squares, but like I said, what I need to do is I want to not have, not run this all the way off, but I do want it off the edge. And so I turn it over to the back. I kind of do my line, like right there. And so I know that in between there is where I want my main, you know, foam square. And I'll do a couple smaller ones here. Now, because this is a little higher, I'm going to go ahead and put one out here and one out here, but I will not take those off. I'm only going to take them off of the ones that I'm going to stick on the page starter. So that helps with that. And so then if I wanted to, I know it's going to go in that top corner, then all I have to do is turn it over to line up my lines. And there is where that goes. And so hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Taking my sweet time, sweet watermelon. If I had another watermelon or something, I could do that there. Not sure that I wanted to add anything else. You know, I'm just not liking that with it. So, and anyway, there's this card. And it's, you know, it's not the best, but, you know, it's using up some of my older stuff. So, another thing is, like I said, I wanted to show you that, say that I wanted to use this and not stick it down, but I wanted to make it so I could use foam squares. All right. You can use your silicone mat if you have one of those, or you can use, and this you just pop off the lid, because underneath here, the way these work, underneath, this screws off and your powder is inside. And when you first get it, you have to take a seal off of here. And then you put this back on, and you want to be sure you're not unscrewing that. Again, this just pops on and off. Okay. And then you just hold it and you just put your powder on it. And you kind of maybe have to look in the light so you can see. Okay, so it still needs a little there. And what it is it this just wipes right off. And this now is not sticky. So I can put foam squares on it and elevate that. You know, I can still trim it if I needed to. And so that makes that a lot of fun, you know. wanted to show you this. This is with our, I don't know if that's with that one or not. I don't think so. But I put this behind it, and I forget exactly whether it's, I don't think that's with our punch, but it might have been. Yeah, it's a little more than the 1 3/4, so I think that's a little bit bigger. But anyway, that would work as a black behind it, and it brings out Beach Please. This is a little bigger for a yellow, and as a, a lot of times when I've got scrap paper left over, I'll maybe cut out circles and stuff, and I stick them in one of our the older 5x7 bins that we had, the photo boxes, right? And so those work too. But this one here, it could, this one was one that I didn't care to have these little notches. And I would probably cut this strip off and put it up a notch. So let's just do that. Because I still want the beach look, or the waves looking. But just like that. And it makes that a little shorter. And I think that is perfectly fine. I could have used foam squares under this, because then it would elevate it and make the waves or the sea look higher, which that's how waves are. I live on the coast. Don't go to the beach as much as I used to or anything, but it's okay. And so that takes away the other things that I felt competing. And so then this is a nice little thing, and we've got this little bucket and this little shovel here that could be on this side. Actually, I wish, because we got the umbrella up there. I just didn't want to take up all the room. And I feel like this is competing. So that's not the right color. The splash zone, that's not right. So I would be looking for another sticker or something, or a little bit different maybe, or a title. I probably got some in titles, and I just didn't pull them out and things. But I know I've got all kinds of titles. There's things that could go there, and it'd be my first thing. So, and these I would probably elevate a little bit, maybe put one down, and the other ones just be flat, and this one could be up on foam squares or whatever. And I don't care for that there, but see, that don't look bad either. Just like something like that. Is that's 2 across. If I done the whole 3 structure, which I could do that all down here and things, so that would work. And I would elevate a couple of those. So just giving you some ideas of things. And hopefully this has helped in what I was trying to get across. But the main thing was that we have so many of these wonderful tools, wonderful leftover things that we like to use and utilize. And it's got all these pink umbrellas and the beach, please. And it's perfect. And this could be our paradise, could be there. And we could tell about it or something. So see that it's your leftover stuff that you're using, and it's kind of neat to see how those would work. This has got, it's dark. That would work. Excuse me. That caught me off guard. But anyway, you could see different ideals, different possibilities. If I pulled out something else, another envelope that I had, like I've got this partial from Our Moments, and I have this partial, this camera or something, could do something with that. There's just a lot of things that we have left over. Now, don't get me wrong, our mats are great, and you could use all mats on a page. And these are the ones that's got the lines on them, so they are made for journal boxes. But it's like I said, you cut it in half, you've got two journal boxes, in that same collection. You would, if you cut this one in half, you've got this one down here. It's just got some tropic, but that's got the sun on it. You could still, do that or use that. I don't want to re-record, and so please forgive me. But I appreciate you watching today. And like I said, this is Connie Skaggs from Ladson, South Carolina. And please let me know what you do with your leftover mats. And or are you one of these that don't get the mats because, okay, I could get a buy it all bundle, but I really don't want the mats. Do you understand that your 10% is probably paying for those free? Plus you can get like your sketch booklet comes free in that. So don't don't always think that, oh, I don't need that, but whenever they're doing the buy it all bundle and they do a 10% discount on most of them, it's less. And so that's just one way to do it. I can feel this cough coming back on and I have no idea. I feel like I took a deep breath too fast. But my information will be on there. If you do not have an advisor, I'd love to be your advisor. You can purchase straight from my website. And so, again, Connie Skaggs from Ladson, South Carolina, 29456. And I'm right outside of Charleston, South Carolina. So I appreciate it very much. So hopefully you'll have a good day and tell me if you're going to use page starters. Okay. Appreciate it. Bye.